Happy Monday and welcome back to Chaos and Carry Ons.
Today, we are officially entering spooky season.
But not the cute spooky season, not Mickey pumpkins, matching family costumes, and eating candy on Main Street spooky.
No, today we're talking chainsaws, creepy clowns, haunted houses, people jumping out at you in the dark.
Basically, paying Universal to traumatize you.
Exactly. We're talking about Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando.
We're going to give you the full rundown, what Halloween Horror Nights actually is, how the event works, haunted houses versus scare zones, tickets, express pass, what you should know before you go, and probably the biggest question for families.
Should you take your kids?
And if you're planning a Halloween trip with kids, should you skip Horror Nights altogether and stick with Mickey's not-so-scary Halloween party at Magic Kingdom?
So whether you're planning your first Halloween Horror Nights or you're just curious about why people are so obsessed with this event, or maybe you would personally rather be anywhere on Earth than walking through a haunted house,
This episode is for you.
But before we voluntarily walk into these 10 haunted houses,
Which already sounds like a questionable life choice.
we've got to make this official.
Cue the music!
Chaos and carry ons, let's go. Screaming out to run the show. Never go alone tonight. Step on in and face the fright.
Okay, we're back, and today we're talking all things Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Orlando Resort.
And if you've ever been to Halloween Horror Nights, it's not just Universal decorating the park for Halloween.
That's probably the first thing that people need to understand. This is an entirely separately ticketed event at Universal Florida, and Universal basically transforms the park into a giant horror experience. And for 2026, Halloween Horror Nights is celebrating its 35th year. Universal says this is one of the most expansive versions of the event that they've ever done.
Which, if you think about it, means they've apparently spent 35 years figuring out how to scare people.
Exactly. This year, the event runs on 48 select nights from August 28th through November 1st. There are 10 haunted houses, multiple scare zones, live entertainment, themed food and drinks, merchandise, regular Universal attractions operating during the event also. So it isn't one haunted house that takes you 20 minutes and then you're done. This is an entire night event.
So let's start with the big thing that most people go for, which is the houses. The haunted houses are very elaborate walkthrough experiences. And when I say elaborate, we're not talking about somebody hanging black sheets in the hallway and jumping out and wearing a $12 mask. Universal puts a ridiculous amount of detail into these. So you're going to walk through sets with lighting, sound effects, smells, props, special effects, and scare actors that are positioned throughout the house. Some of the houses are based on the major horror theme movies and television franchises, and others are just completely original stories that Universal has came up with. And this is where we need to explain something to you if you've never been to Halloween Horror Nights. This isn't like a ride where you're going to sit in a vehicle and watching scary things happen.
No, you're walking
On your own 2 feet.
through the entire scary thing.
That feels important to say.
Very important, because you're generally moving through a continuous line of people. The scare actors there are incredibly good at timing their scares. So just because you watch them jump out at the person 3 people ahead of you doesn't mean that you're safe.
No, because they're professionals. So they know when you think that you're safe.
That's the problem. It's especially interesting because of the 35th anniversary. The 2026 event is themed around the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares, with 2 major Universal Horror Nights icons, Jack the Clown and Dr. Oddfellow, serving as rival ringmasters. And yes, if Evil Carnival is one of the things that bothers you,
Yeah, congratulations, because Universal found you. They also announced some big intellectual property houses for this year, including Stranger Things 5, which takes guests into scenes inspired by the final season. So part of the fun for horror fans is seeing movies and shows that they already know turned into something that they can physically walk through. Here's something I think first-timers really need to know. You can say, fine, I'll go with everybody, but I just won't go into the haunted houses.
and Universal says, oh, that's adorable. Because there are scare zones throughout the park also. So these outdoor sections where scare actors are roaming around in character. There's fog, music, elaborate sets, performers walking through the crowd. So unlike a haunted house where you make the decision to get in line and walk inside.
The scare zone is coming to you. And this is really important when we start talking about kids because a kid can't necessarily skip the scary parts. You need to walk through these scary environments just to keep moving through this event. So let's answer a question people also probably have. Are these people allowed to grab you?
So the experience is designed around jump scares and getting very close to guests. It's not supposed to be an event where scare actors are grabbing and dragging you around. That being said, when someone suddenly appears 6 inches away from your face,
Your body doesn't really care whether they've touched you or not.
correct. So obviously, guests should never touch, shove, or intentionally interfere with the scare actors. So here's where I think Halloween Horror Nights is interesting. You don't necessarily have to be the world's biggest haunted house person to enjoy the event because there are themed food, drinks, merchandise, live entertainment, people watching. The overall atmosphere and some regular Universal attractions are also open during the events.
But if you generally hate being startled and you don't like gore, you don't like horror imagery, or really just becoming anxious when people jump out at you, I don't think that this is the Halloween event that I'd recommend you spending money on because you're paying to go into this event.
Exactly. And the horror isn't a side effect, it's the actual product. So here's another big planning detail. Halloween Horror Nights requires its own ticket. Your regular daytime Universal Studios ticket doesn't automatically include the Halloween Horror Nights. Universal closes the park to regular daytime guests and transitions into the nighttime event. There are different ticket options depending on how many nights you want to attend, and there are upgrades available too. Which brings us to...
This is probably one of the biggest planning questions. Do I need the Express Pass?
So Halloween Horror Nights can get very busy, especially the closer you get to Halloween and popular nights, think weekends. The haunted houses are the main attraction, so lines can get long. If your goal is, I paid for this and I want to see all 10 houses in one night, I would seriously look at the Express Pass options for your date and budget.
Especially if you're going only just one night.
Exactly. If you're attending multiple nights, you have more flexibility. But if you only have one night and 10 haunted houses plus the scare zones, food, shows, rides, that's a lot. And remember, Halloween Horror Nights Express is its own product. So don't assume the Express benefit that you use during your normal Universal Park Day automatically works the same way during Horror Nights. You'll need to check the specific ticket or pass that you're purchasing for that.
So another phrase you're going to hear when you're researching the Halloween Horror Nights is stay and scream. And the basic idea is that eligible guests who already are inside Universal before the park transitions to Halloween Horror Nights can wait in designated holding areas rather than completely leaving and then coming back through the main entrance, which that can give you a really valuable head start.
Exactly. So if you're serious about maximizing your night, this is something that I would research when planning your particular date because procedures and locations do change and vary on that. The first part of the night can be huge. If you can knock out some of the popular houses before the biggest crowds build, you're setting yourself up much better for the rest of the evening.
So now you're probably wondering, okay, what do people wear to this event? And the first thing is always comfortable shoes.
End of segment.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
No, seriously though, you're going to be walking. You're walking around Universal Studios. You're standing in queues. You're walking through the houses. You're potentially doing this for hours. And this is not the night for the cute shoes that hurt after 45 minutes. Also, check the weather because this is Florida during hurricane season and early fall. So it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. It's going to rain. And somehow all three of those will be in your night in a very short period of time.
Yes, because it's Florida.
Universal also has specific costume rules for Halloween Horror Nights. So Universal states that costumes and costume masks are not allowed. So don't plan this like Mickey's Not So Scary, where dressing up is part of the fun. Okay, let's talk about the kids. This is the section that I think parents really need to hear. Can I take my kids to Halloween Horror Nights? Technically, this isn't just about whether a particular child is brave. Universal itself says Halloween Horror Nights may be too intense for young children and is not recommended for children under 13. That's Universal saying that, not us.
And I think that parents need to understand what intense means here. We're talking about like dark events, loud noises, the jump scares. The costumes are scary, and it's going to have some potentially graphic imagery. The monsters, the scare actors, they're all trying to intentionally scare you. And this is not Disney level spooky. This isn't Mickey Pumpkins.
No, and here's our biggest issue with taking a younger child. You might have a kid who loves scary movies. You might have a kid who says, Mom, I'm not scared of anything. But watching something scary on TV in your living room is completely different from walking through a dark hallway while actors are jumping out at you and the entire environment is loud and chaotic.
Yes, and once you're there, you can't just turn it off.
And the scare zones mean you don't have complete control over when that happens. So would we take our kids under 13? Personally, if it were me planning a Halloween vacation for a family with younger kids, Halloween Horror Nights would not be my first recommendation. Universal specifically recommends against it for kids under 13, and I think that's worth taking seriously. Now, obviously, you know your own kids, your teenagers and older children. There are absolutely kids who love horror and would think this is the greatest night of their lives.
And there are adults who would like their mom to come pick them up.
Also true. That would be me. Mom, help, there's a chainsaw. Age alone doesn't tell whether someone will enjoy it or not, but for elementary age kids specifically, I would choose a completely different Halloween experience. Which brings us to
Halloween Horror Nights versus Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, which that's funny because they're totally different events. But they happen around the same time. So people are going to compare these.
They're both separately ticketed Halloween events at major theme parks, but that's basically where the similarities end. So if you're taking younger kids, Mickey's Not So Scary at Magic Kingdom is the obvious choice for us. And here's how I would break it down. If you've got young kids and want costumes, candy, characters, parade, fun Halloween atmosphere, go to Magic Kingdom. If you have older teens or adults who love horror movies, haunted houses, and getting scared, go Halloween Horror Nights. If you're adults who love theme parks but hate being scared, go to Mickey's Not So Scary.
I don't care if you're 47, you're absolutely allowed to choose Mickey. I would.
And if you're traveling without kids and you love Halloween, do both, because they're honestly not competing experiences at all. One gives you classic, nostalgic, family-friendly Halloween. The other gives you full-blown horror. So here's our tips for first-timers for Halloween Horror Nights. If we've convinced you that this is for you, here are the biggest things that we would want a first-timer to know.
Number 1 is buy your ticket early.
Popular dates can be extremely busy. So number 2, look at Express Pass pricing before your trip. If you only have one night, seeing the houses is important to you. Factor that into your budget from the beginning.
Number 3, you need a plan.
Know which houses are your priorities. Don't walk through the gate and then spend 30 minutes standing around asking everybody what they want to do.
Number 4, you're going to want to eat the specialty items.
Leave room in your plan to experience those things instead of treating it like a night at the Haunted House Marathon.
Number 5, we talked about this already. Wear comfortable shoes.
We cannot emphasize it enough.
Number 6, don't force somebody to go to this event if they hate being scared.
Yes, there's a difference between someone saying, I'm nervous, but this sounds fun, and somebody saying, I genuinely do not want to do this. And that's a very expensive way to have a horrible day.
And number 7,
don't underestimate it. Even if you watch horror movies all the time, Halloween Horror Nights is immersive. The lighting, sound, actors, atmosphere are designed specifically to make you uncomfortable, and that's why people love it.
Okay, so what's the final verdict? Is Halloween Horror Nights worth it? Halloween Horror Nights is worth it if you like horror, if you like haunted houses, if you like unique theme park events, then absolutely I would buy this ticket. But Universal doesn't treat this like some tiny seasonal add-on. It's an entire production. There's 10 haunted houses, the scare zones, the entertainment, the food. The big horror franchises are there telling their stories. There's a reason people plan entire trips around this event. But if you're planning to travel with little kids, we're going to tell you to go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. There's no question about that, especially because Universal themselves does not recommend this event for children under 13.
Indy and Boo to You wins over chainsaws for the elementary school crowd. That feels like a reasonable parenting philosophy. So now we want to know where everybody falls. Are you team Halloween Horror Nights? Make it as scary as possible? Or are you team Mickey's Not So Scary? Give me a trick-or-treat bag and let me watch a parade.
If you've been to Halloween Horror Nights before, tell us, what is the scariest house that you've ever been to and you've ever done?
And if you're planning an Orlando trip during Halloween season, you're trying to decide which event works better for your family, hopefully this episode helped you figure out which side of spooky season you belong on.
As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Chaos and Carry Ons.
We'll see you next Monday. And until then, may your flights be on time and your luggage never lost. But if it's not, that's where the fun begins.
Step through the gates, the sirens sound, thick, heavy fog across the ground. The shadows lurk, the engines roar, Halloween horror through the door. Strobe lights flash, the actors scream, trapped inside a twisted dream. Haunted houses slash and bite, scare zones waking up the night. Chaos and carry ons, let's go, screaming out to run the show. Never go alone tonight. Step on in and face the fright. Classic monsters in the